So again, welcome everyone to this session on Rocketlane Admin Fundamentals. I'll just do a quick introduction about myself. I'm Monica, and I lead the customer education programs in Rocketlane. And this is something that we are doing for the first time, this live session, where we want to engage with you, drive more adoption to Rocketlane, and make you more confident to use Rocketlane. That's always the goal. And we're taking many learning initiatives to achieve that. And with that note, let's go right into our session. Right. So let's start with a story of reminiscence. With respect to project management, I think when we started doing projects, we were more reliant on emails where we had multiple threads running around to connect with internal stakeholders, with customers, to jot down action items, and then get back to them with all the details collected. And I think we spend lots of time searching for all of these multiple email threads to kind of share this information, get input, send updates, and so much more. And I think lots of our productive utilization time was being spent in searching and surfacing information. We found that that was not scalable, and that's the reason we moved on to sheets. So I think at the beginning or at the start, sheets would have seemed a lot more productive than using emails. But in sheets, the problem is you can have all the tasks listed, you can have all the people who will be taking up those tasks or are responsible for those tasks, but it will lack a lot of visibility where you can see where all the people are spending time on all the projects. So you may have multiple spreadsheets for multiple projects, but just accounting for people's time spent on projects was not possible. And I think there you would not have as much customer collaboration as you would like, and transparency between you and your customers. Since project management is also about having customer centricity, again, this approach was not really scalable. And that's the birth of all the professional services tools, and Rocketlane is at the center of it. So with respect to Rocketlane, what's different, what's going to make bring about that big change? So with respect to Rocketlane, you can automate your project management journey from the start to the end. The entire life cycle of a project can be automated with Rocketlane. You can have enhanced customer collaborations and employee collaborations with Rocketlane. We have multiple places inside the project where you can connect, share feedback, and improve your project management processes. And with respect to your employee utilization, we have very robust resource management capabilities that will give you a lot of visibility into how properly your employees are utilized. And finally, you can also handle portfolios within Rocketlane. So all of this might sound a lot theoretical to you, and I completely understand you want to see all of this in action. That's where we are heading next. So, what our training path is going to hold today? First, we are going to start with project plans. And I know project plans are the backbone of any project, and building the perfect project plan means most of your work is done right there, because anybody who's carrying out the project or people who are going to step into the project newly can have all the context that they need just by looking at the project plan. So, to construct a proper project plan is key. And we also know that you wouldn't want to construct project plans over and over again for the same project types. That's the reason we let you templatize it. So you can templatize all your project plans once and reuse it in multiple dynamic ways for projects with different requirements. And then we move on to integrations and custom fields. So you will we always believe that where the sales cycle ends, onboarding begins. So if you have a CRM that has all your client information and you want all of that to be seamlessly transferred to your project when it's getting created, integration is key. And Rocketlane has many native integrations with really renowned CRMs, and also enabling integrations with other CRMs using Zapier and Workato. With also field syncing, you will have all the client and operational information seamlessly transferred between different platforms. Finally, we are also going to talk about the collaborative ways that Rocketlane offers for you to seamlessly connect with your customers and also with your internal team members, and have actually be the bridge where people collaborate and talk about all things project management. So that's the training path that we are going to look at today. Next is we are going to see Rocketlane in action. So this is how a project plan looks like in Rocketlane. Just a moment, let me just check something really quick. All right. So this is how a project plan looks like in Rocketlane. Here you can see that the project spans across different phases, which you can also call as milestones. And under each phase, you can see that all the entitled tasks are listed seamlessly. If you just zoom a bit closer, you can see that all of these tasks are color coded. And all these dates actually mean something. These are due dates, and a red coded due date means you are actually overdue for this task. And if it's a yellow color coded date, it means that your due date is fast approaching. So, just by looking or glancing at the project plan, you will know which task to prioritize or which task is going to be at risk, and you can start tackling that task first. Let me also scroll down a bit and show you one more thing. So, for each task, there is an assignee who will be responsible to complete the task. But in this task, you can see that there is a team member named Bala and also another role that's called front end engineer assigned to this task. Here, there are two things that you can notice. One is there can be more than one assignee part of a task, and the other is you can have a placeholder which represents a skill as part of a task. So, whenever you have projects in the pipeline and you're building your project plan, you may be aware of what skill will be required of the person who's going to take up the task, but you will not know which actual team member is going to take it up because you're unaware of the bandwidth of the team member and how they are being utilized in the ongoing projects. That's why Rocketlane lets you use a placeholder instead of an actual team member when you're planning a project, and that's exactly what we see right here. And if you ask me how you can replace this particular placeholder with a team member, we have options to do that also. Just click on the manage project placeholder button and you can just select a front end engineer from the list of team members available. So this is exactly where we are headed next, where we are going to see how to configure roles and assign those roles as team members. So if you're an admin, just go to your avatar and go to the settings. Under the settings, go to the roles and placeholders section where you can create a new role for your team members. Here you can see that we also have roles that can be created for customers. Since Rocketlane is all about accountability within your team members and also your customers, we let you create roles for both team members and customers and assign tasks to customers. So you can choose the type of role you're going to create, give the role a name, and check the placeholder that says this role can be used as a placeholder when you're creating project plans. So as soon as you're done creating a role, the next step is to assign this role to a team member while inviting them. So inviting a team member is pretty breezy. All you need to do is have their work email, just input it here and assign them to a role and determine their permissions that they need to have inside Rocketlane, and you're all set to invite them into the project. So once your team members are inside the project, they can start looking up the projects, the tasks that they're assigned to, and start working on them. Now, let me click on a particular task to show you how contextualized a task can look like. So if you take a look at this task, you can see that it comes rich with descriptions on what needs to actually happen on a task. Here you can see that a team member who is assigned this task, this team member can actually read the description and understand what is expected out of them. And if there are any attachments that the team members or customers need to access, you can add attachments right here. And we also know that tasks are not limited to just a single task, and a task can have multiple subtasks as part of it. So you can view all the subtasks or forms that are part of the tasks right from here. The next is dependencies. So all tasks may not be independent. Some tasks can be dependent on a blocking task to get completed. So to get a picture of that, you can see the dependencies here. And if you ask me, is this the only place where you can see it? Not really. There is a timeline view where you can actually see dependencies, which I'll get to in a bit. So under additional information, you can see that all these tasks will have appropriate task fields associated to them. Here you can see that the effort required to complete this task is set as 4 hours, and there is a progress percentage that you can actually use to let your project owners know how much of the task you've completed, and you can also view the priority right from here. Now, if let's say this task is, I mean, all tasks are visible to customers unless you create a private task. But in this task, which is visible to your customer, if you want to convey something to your team member that is only, confidential and your team members need to access, you can actually add that message as a private note. And in here, while you're adding a private note, there is this feature called Smart Fill that you can make use of. So let me just give you a quick detour of what we were doing previously when we are typing messages. So when we're typing messages, We used to use the let's say I want to add some information to my message. I will go back, fetch that information from somewhere inside the project and come back and add it and type my message. However, with Rocketlane Smartfill feature, all you need to do is use the feature and add the predefined field that you want to add here, and this particular feature will seamlessly fetch that information from inside your project and populate it here. So that's exactly what it does. So for example, if I want to use the project name, I'll just add the placeholder, I mean, smart fill, and it'll get added right here. So that's about private note. Moving on to the conversation section, this is a place where you can collaborate with your customers on all things the task related or the project related. Here you can see that a conversation is taking place between two people, but also another third person is involved. Here the customer is asking the project owner about some detail, and then the project owner is tagging some other team member to ask for the detail and then replying to the customer. So here you can see that yellow tinge is a private message meant only for the team members. And to achieve that, all you need to do is use this eye icon. So here you are adding a message to your internal team member and also conversing with your customers all inside one single box. So this is where you actually collaborate and really connect with your customers on anything task related. And also, if you just scroll up, you can also see an audit trail where all of these changes made to the task are populated. Here you can see that the task was created on a certain date, it was assigned to an implementation manager on a certain date, and so on. So all changes made and by whom is visible right here. Great. Now, as discussed before, you can see the timeline view of this entire project plan right from here. And you can also quickly see that this project has a waterfall method of dependency, and you can also see all the tasks that are dependent on each other right from here. So now I think you might have a looming question in your mind as to where all of this detail comes from inside, Rocketlane. So how do you enrich a project plan with all of these details seamlessly? So that's exactly where templates come from. And that's also something we're going to see right now. Just navigate to templates, and here you can see that there are templates for multiple things inside Rocketlane. Like if you want to create a project plan, we have a template for that. If you want to add documents as part of your projects, we have templates for that also. And then we also have project update templates, meaning all the updates that you send to your customers can be templated and used. And for also gathering information under forms, we also templatize that. So all your work that you do to redo your forms and documents and updates is being cut down by just using templates. But right now, we're just going to see how to use a new project template. So you can start adding a project template by just giving it a name that resonates with your use case. And one quick tip here is when you're starting to add a project template, just create a phase. And if you have a sheet where all of your tasks are listed, you can just copy all of that information from the sheets and paste it into Rocketlane, and it will get added as tasks for you. So that's as easy as it looks like. And with respect to Rocketlane, we understand that a project plan is not just about tasks and phases. It's also about all the documents that fall into your project plan that your customers can access and get trained on, and also the assignees that are going to be part of your project plan. So we let you templatize the documents that go into a project, the people who will be working on the project, and also the tasks that will be part of the project all under one place. First, we are going to see how to structure your phases and tasks in Rocketlane. So this is how you can add all of these tasks. And to the right, you can see that there is a start on day. This is the nth day from which the project commences. And the duration is the number of days your team members will be working on this particular task in their project journey. The next is assignee. So remember we talked about placeholders bit earlier, and this is exactly where placeholders come into action. So for example, let's say there is a project or there are many projects in your pipeline and you're creating project templates for those project plans for those projects. At that point, you will not know which team member is going to take it up. So it's very ideal for you to use a skill or a role as a placeholder when you're creating a template, so that later you can replace that placeholder with a team member. You also can add a customer as a assignee for a task if you want some detail collected from them and something is pending on them. Now let's take a look at a fully constructed project template to show you more details on what a task can hold. So this is a fully constructed project template. Here you can see on the right side all the information that you saw inside the task pane. So tasks come with rich descriptions right from the project template phase. You can add documents right from here and attachments also from here. Under additional information, you add all the task fields that your team members need to fill, and the yellow tinge that you see inside the templates also reminds you that this is a private section only visible to your team members and not your customers. So you can make fields private or public. And one a great hack that you can also use here is, let's say you want to bulk update a set of tasks, bulk update the fields for a set of tasks. All you need to do is select the task that you want to bulk update, and just update the field right from here. So if you want to set the duration or set assignee for these tasks, you can do it right from this pane that's available. So that's about how a task will look like. And if you're creating dependencies for these tasks, there is also a timeline view here that lets you see how these dependencies flow like a waterfall. Next is dynamic requirements that a project template can hold. So I will start off with an example to explain how this will look like. So for any project that's getting created, it will have different requirements. For example, on a Friday morning, if you're creating a project and the project needs integration as part of it, you can add a condition here that says, let's say if integration is required. And if the answer is yes, then this entire section will be part of your project plan. But let's say Friday evening, you're creating another project that says that integration is not required. Then the entire integration phase will be eliminated or excluded from the project plan. So according to the fields that you fill up while you create your project, these sections can be included or excluded from the plan. That's how dynamically you can use project templates to your preferences. Next is the spaces section. So as I already mentioned, all the documents like SOWs, business requirements, and so on that you use for your projects can be added as documents inside the spaces section. So if you also have training materials that you would wish to use, you can add the same inside Rocketlane as an embedded URL. So for example, if you want to add a YouTube link or a presentation that you're going to show customers, you can just add it as a URL inside Rocketlane, and that will be looked up like an iframe for your customers, and they can just access and learn from it. So for someone like me who is doing enablement for customers, I can just embed links of training videos here and customers can look it up, and that also makes my job easy. So next is blank documents. So you can also create blank documents from Rocketlane. You can use our versatile toolbar to create those documents, and also use templatized documents and plug them right here. So similar to the dynamic option available under projects, documents also have dynamic conditions where you can choose to include particular documents for certain types of projects using conditions. Finally, we come to assignees and how they're allocated to your projects. So we have two types of allocations in Rocketlane. One is auto allocate and the next is manual allocate. For auto allocate to work, you need to have a robust plan that has the duration set already. And inside the task, there should be effort tasks that are filled. And also the assignee needs to be part of the task. So if these three information are already filled by you, the auto allocate feature will seamlessly take all of that information and automatically allocate the hours that each role or skill needs to spend in the projects as so many hours per day on the entire project. So if you don't want to auto allocate these allocations, you can go for manual allocation where you can just add a block and block the number of hours per day a team member needs to spend on the project. So you can choose so many number of hours and the number of working days, and automatically an allocation will be done for that particular placeholder and team member when the placeholder is replaced by the team member. So that's how all of this comes together under a project template in Rocketlane. So this one other thing that I kept on talking about while talking about templates is the field section and how they can be set up. So the fields that you see here can be constructed by you. Some of the fields that you see, like the efforts and the priority, are given to you by default by Rocketlane, but other fields can be set up by you under settings. So as an admin, you can go to settings, just navigate down to the field section and start creating your fields. So we have different types of fields for projects, tasks, and team members. And fields are nothing but talking points that talk about the length and breadth of your projects and tasks and team members. For projects, all the fields are by default private because only you can fill them up and access them. For tasks, there are public and private fields because your team members can fill up some which are private, and your customers can access and view some which are public. And for team members, if you want to add more information to their profile, like their skills, their employee information, you can go ahead and add team member fields. Let me quickly show an example of a project field here. So you can add a field and group it under a section in Rocketlane. So if you're adding a new field, you can do so by clicking on the new field button. If it's going to be a yes or no field, we have that type of field also. So here there are multiple field types that you can make use of: multi-line, paragraph, number, yes or no, date. All of these fields are available to you, and you can pick and sort whichever you want. So if integration required is a question field, you can add yes or no as the field type and add the section that this field should go into. Or if you're creating a new section, you can just add a new section and drag and drop that field into that section. That's how you create fields for both team members, tasks, and all of the fields that you see right here. So when you're talking about fields, another thing comes to our mind, right? How to sync all of the fields that are already available in your CRM into Rocketlane. That's where we introduce integrations. So Rocketlane has native integrations with HubSpot and Salesforce. But if you have a CRM that needs to be integrated with Rocketlane, we also enable you with Zapier and Workato integrations where you can set up automations to create projects from your CRM. Let me quickly show you how HubSpot integration works in Rocketlane. So here, you just need to connect your HubSpot account with Rocketlane. And in HubSpot, you can create a workflow where you say, let's say the trigger is the deal stage is closed one, then create a project in Rocketlane can be your action. And under create project, you can also choose the template that sorry yeah, you can also choose the template that needs to be part of the project create process, so that the project inculcates the template that you choose and surfaces it when you start working on the project. So it's a simple workflow that I've shown. You can add more actions uh, whenever you're setting up your workflow. And coming back to the HubSpot integration, once you're connected and you set up an automation to create project from within the CRM when a deal is closed, you can come back to Rocketlane and also sync the fields from HubSpot into Rocketlane. So you need to add a HubSpot object and have all the fields inside that object listed here and map it to the right field inside Rocketlane and have the sync work. So whenever you update a field for that project in HubSpot, automatically that sync will happen in Rocketlane and the value will reflect in Rocketlane. Similarly, for Salesforce also, we have an integration that you can seamlessly set up and create projects from within your CRM itself. So that's about how you create projects from your CRM. The next thing that we're going to see is how to create ad hoc projects in Rocketlane. So we also have this new project create button in Rocketlane that you can use to create projects from within Rocketlane itself. So here you can just fill out the details of your customer, select the template that you will be using for this particular onboarding or whatever project that you're running, set up the status and select the start date. And you can see that the due date is automatically populated for this particular project because it takes the timelines from the template that you chose. Once you set up the visibility, you can go ahead and configure the project team. So here you can see that all the placeholders that we added as part of our project template will be listed here. So you can select team members who are going to handle these the tasks as part of the role that is assigned here right from here, or even after the project is created, like we saw at the start of our session. So you can invite your team members and then also invite customers. So if there are n number of tasks assigned to your customers and you want to hold them accountable for the tasks that are pending on them, you can just add your customers from here. You can just add their email address and press enter and they'll be invited. Next is filling up the project fields. So project fields need to be carefully filled because, as I already mentioned, any field that you tick here will decide what sort of project template it's getting imported. Because as I mentioned earlier, if you choose integration to be required under the project fields, then the project template imported will have the integration section. If not, it will just eliminate the integration section. So fill the project fields carefully and then create your project. So after the project is created, we already saw how it looks like. This is how a project plan looks like in Rocketlane, and we saw how you can go into tasks and collaborate and everything. But when you invite your customers to collaborate with you on projects, let me show you how the customer portal looks like to them. So this is a view only thing that I'm showing you, but for your customers, it'll definitely be interactive because as soon as you invite them into the project using their email address, they will receive a magic link in their inbox. They can just use that link to access this customer portal and start working with you on the projects. Here, as soon as they log in, they can just choose their company to see the tasks assigned to them and start working on it. And if they want to connect with you on one of these tasks, all they need to do is go into the task and start conversations with you. Here, another quick tip I can give you is you can use at mentions here to mention any team member who's going to be part of the project. So with one at mention, you can yeah, so since that is only view only, I'm just going to show you that inside the project plan. So you can use single at mention to mention any team member. You can use double at mentions to mention tasks and triple at mentions to mention documents as part of your conversations with the customer. So that's how easily they can collaborate with you. And as I already mentioned, in the training materials that you shared with your customers can be accessed by them right from here. For example, I just added my deck as a URL in this particular project, and the customer can seamlessly see it as an iframe right from the customer portal. So that's how easily they can collaborate with you and connect with you through that customer portal and always give you feedback. So, yeah, let me go back to our projects. So that's how you collaborate seamlessly with your team members and customers on projects. One other thing is in Rocketlane, there is something called as a milestone task that you can create. So if you create a milestone task, as soon as you mark the task as completed, automated CSAT survey will go to customers where they can rate you on the experience that they had with that particular task. So this is basically a proactive measure that you're taking to gather customer sentiments and use it to better your performance throughout the project journey. So instead of waiting until the end of the project to collect feedback, you are doing it right at the middle so that customers are also aware that you want to understand their feedback and you care about it. And you also know how your customers feel about the progress of the projects. So that's another quick tip that I can give you. Finally, if you're a project manager who's looking up the projects on a daily basis, you can create a filter for yourself and use that to view projects across regions, for example. So if this is a particular view that you would like to save, you can just save that view and make it accessible or visible only to you or all team members. So this view is something that you can always have and run meetings with. Similarly, if you want to see all the tasks part of different projects, you can go to the all tasks view and create a view for yourself and just monitor all the tasks that are progressing, how they are going on, and just follow up with your team members and present it also in your daily meetings. So this is how seamlessly you can use Rocketlane to plan your projects, sync up your CRM, and also collaborate with the internal and external stakeholders. Thank you so much. We've come to the end of the session. Right now, let me get back to the chat. Great. So I have just one quick announcement before we move on to the Q&A section. Let me quickly run you through that as well. So, as part of the learning initiatives that we're taking in Rocketlane, we built Rocketlane Academy. It's a self learning platform that you can use to learn Rocketlane and wear it like a weapon or be confident about the product because all the courses that we have put up there wouldn't take you more than a few minutes to more than an hour to complete and understand a product and how to use it. So, here there is very less dependency for you to have on others. You just have to set some time on your own and learn Rocketlane with ease at your own pace in your own time. So that it's basically crafted thoughtfully, keeping you in mind to make the learning journey easy for you. So I have given a link, it's pinned to the chat, where you can enroll to Academy and start using it. You can also onboard your team members to start using Rocketlane to manage their tasks and projects and understand the best practices as well. So that's a great way. And one other thing, you can get certified by just completing the courses. You can be an admin certified, Rocketlane admin certified user, Rocketlane user certified user, just by going through the courses. And the next thing is, this particular admin training session is the first of its kind, but we are going to keep doing this bi-weekly, where we'll be delving into multiple other things that Rocketlane can do for you, like resource management, best practices, or what you actually want to learn. So we are doing an feedback collection from you to understand what you want to learn and to implement that. So we are going to have this as a recurring session, so you can give your feedback to us to let us know what you would wish to learn in the upcoming sessions. So this is again pinned in the chat for you to access and submit feedback on. We will also send you a thank you email with the recording, and there also you'll have this form to understand, to just give your feedback and thoughts on what are the things you would wish to learn and implement in Rocket League. So that takes us to the end of the session, and we are here with Q&A. So let me get back to our chat. So you can start dropping your questions. I see a few. So Sabrish is asking if we can restrict template access. For instance, in my team, I don't want anyone to mess with the templates. For sure, you can give a team member or collaborator access so that they don't have access to edit or change or create templates. So you can definitely do that in the permission section of the user when you invite them into Rocketlane, and ensure that they only have access to manage projects or handle their tasks. Hope that answers your question. Okay, you want to see the most common Salesforce integration, Sabrish? Let me show an example of how Salesforce is set up in Rocketlane. So for Salesforce, you can just connect your Salesforce account and then go back to Rocketlane's integration section and set up the automation from here. So let me quickly show you a sample automation that we set up. So here, there is a create project automation. Let me expand and show that to you. So this is a sample automation that you can set up to create a project from Salesforce integration. Yeah, you can definitely assign more than one customer team member to the tasks, Hannah. You can create multiple roles for your customers and assign more than one customer team member to the task. That's possible, yes. Hannah, hope that answered your question. And I'm sorry if I'm missing out on any of your questions, but all of your questions will be answered in the follow up email that we send you in a couple of hours. So some of it might require a product manager's inputs as well. So we'll collect all of that and send it to you. So Erica, to answer your question, responsibility and assignee means the same. So anybody who's assigned to a task is responsible for the completion of the task, and the project manager in general is responsible for the completion of all tasks. So they'll be monitoring it and doing follow-ups. Great. Thank you so much, everyone. It has been amazing. You guys have been great. Thank you for stepping into the session. We'll send you the recording, and also we'll answer all of any of the questions that are left out, or all of the questions, so that you also have context on what you asked for and what you received. We'll do that in the follow-up email. And just also letting you know, this is a recurring session. We are going to cover more topics in the upcoming sessions. So would really appreciate your feedback. in the forms that we send you. Just it's just a simple form, you can just fill it easily. Just fill the form for us and let us know what you want to learn. We want to give you what you want to learn. So that's basically our goal. So just please do that for us, and we'll be really happy to host more sessions like this. It's going to be bi-weekly, and you'll be receiving more information through email. Thank you so much for your attendance.